Well, when you're first diagnosed with cancer, there's just so much anxiety and so many possibilities and so many unknowns that there is immediately you're in a state of anxiousness. And then you're pumped full of poison, because that's what they have to give you in order to kill it. And it makes you really, really sick. There are so many side effects from it, from terrible nausea, sores in your mouth, not being able to eat. I still, even though they've discontinued it now 3 weeks ago, I still can't see very well. My eyesight is very blurry. So there's just many, many ramifications of taking the chemo. And if you're like me, allergic to all kind of pain medicine, many antibiotics, many medications, you really don't have a whole lot of choices. Your body's already been pumped full of poison, and it makes you so nauseated you just really, literally can have your head in the toilet day after day after day. And the only thing that I found that would give me any relief was smoking marijuana. And it is amazing, if you take an anti-nausea pill, it takes a while for it to kind of help you a little bit before it makes you really sicker. But when you smoke the dope, it takes effect immediately. It is immediate relief, and that was a shock to me. I thought, well, it'll take a little while for this to take effect, but it really didn't. Now, I did find if I had food substances with marijuana, it took a lot longer for it to take effect. Plus, it was kind of hard to eat brownies or granola bars because in my case I had these sores in my mouth, and so it was kind of hard to eat in that respect. But the effect is immediate. You don't get high. I think it just takes you to a place where you can function and be able to go to the grocery store or meet with friends someplace, or at least not be throwing up all the time. And then another benefit is it does stimulate your appetite a little bit. So you maybe can choke down some pudding or SpaghettiOs or macaroni and cheese, something that's soft enough to get past the sores. Now, living in Arizona, it's not legal, so that creates a lot of issues for a person who needs it, because sometimes I would go out and my friends would say, oh gosh, you must be having a really good day, but you can't really tell them why you're having this good day, because you don't want someone to turn you into the police. So I told practically nobody that I was doing this. And in fact, we created kind of this little code system in that I have a girlfriend whose first husband used to grow marijuana and smoke marijuana quite a bit. And she said, oh, every time I came home from work, he'd be sitting on the couch watching The Flying Nun. So that's what we called it. I'd tell Donnie, I just need to go visit the Flying Nun right now. And that way people don't know what you're doing. You kind of have to have a code for it, because many of my friends here in town are former policemen. If we would go to Sierra Vista to the doctor, I could take a pipe with me so I could smoke as soon as the treatment was done. But if we would go to Tucson, I would be really nervous because we have to go through a border checkpoint, and sometimes the border checkpoint has dogs. So you really have to think, how important is this to me, which is unfortunate. If we're going to go to California for a week, I can't do without, but I have to take it with me, and now I'm running the risk of getting caught with it, which, that kind of plays into things. I was really fortunate because I have a friend here in town who has lived with chronic back pain for a long time. And that person, as soon as he found out, said, I will get this for you You don't need to worry about it. However much you need, I'll get it for you. So I have a supplier, I have a source, and I didn't even have to pay for it. He wanted to do this for me as part of the treatment. So we were really, really lucky to have this person as a friend, but most people don't have that. And when it was legalized here in Arizona, but the law hasn't been implemented, so anyone who really needs it runs that risk of getting caught.
Yeah, that was another thing with our association. It was one of the only ones that gave free medicine. Like, if you came in with your doctor's note, if you're on chemo, if you know, you were in a hospice care, you got free medicine like every week. And
truthfully, the people that are against the law, in my mind, are no doubt people that have never had, and God forbid they would have the opportunity, but when this opportunity presents itself and you have no means of finding any way to give yourself some relief, and that is one drug that does give you relief. And it's a drug, it's a medical drug, because it doesn't make you high, but it helps you to get through the day. And I've said it many times, if it weren't for that, I truthfully do not know what I would have done. I've never been a drug person, I've never been an alcohol person. I've just always been a very honest citizen and never went against the law like this.
you mentioned like how you don't even get high when at the certain point. Do you want to talk about like the difference between when you had first initially tried it in the 60s or whenever?
There is a big difference. I was in college in the 60s and was no stranger to using marijuana. I think back then even it was probably a lot weaker than what it is now. And so maybe you had to smoke more of it, or maybe the effects would have been different. But back then I know what it's like to be high, and I know how I react to it when I'm high. And I know that there has not been a time yet that I have smoked it that I've been high. I know that it takes you to a level of relief, and it doesn't make you goofy, and it doesn't make you high in a traditional sense. It just gives you the relief, and it is immediate relief. As soon as you smoke it, that nausea goes away, and you're able to function.
And how did you like find that it was, you know, best for you to intake it, you know, with the sores in your mouth?
Well, at first, I was using just a regular pipe that a friend of ours had given me, and that was pretty rough, because it really burns going down your throat. So then I got a water pipe. Should I say who told me about the water pipe? Tucker. Well, Tucker gave me the clue, because they had come out here to visit, and I had said, even with the water pipe, sometimes it was still pretty raw in my throat with the sores. And he said, get the very, very coldest water in that water pipe. And if I use very, very, very cold water, then it's smoother. I also think that probably the marijuana, maybe the marijuana that you get out of the clinics, maybe it's a better grade. Because I know depending on what he's given me, sometimes it's better than other times. I suppose it just depends where they get it from. So maybe the quality would be better, and maybe it wouldn't burn so much. I don't know, but I do know that the water pipe worked the best. When it's in food, it has more of a longer term effect, but it takes longer for it to kind of kick in. So I just find smoking is the best.